How did you wind up in New Zealand?
New Zealand, I met Mark Lewin in Atlanta in 1976, and I traveled with him a little bit. Nothing particular. We didn't, it wasn't like a friendship or anything. And all of a sudden, I went home in the fall of '76, and I get a phone call from him saying, asking me if I was interested in going to New Zealand in early '77. And I said, oh yeah, that'd be great, good experience. And as soon as I said yes, about a week later, I got a call from another promoter from Australia, Larry O'Day. And then this guy asked me, since I was in New Zealand, if I minded working for him in January, for a couple of months before I went to New Zealand. And I said yes. And then I started in Australia, and then I went to Australia and then did really well. So what they end up doing is that I would wrestle in New Zealand during the week and then Australia during the weekend. And I teamed up with Larry O'Day, and we got the title together. And I did really well in Australia, and then New Zealand was fantastic.
Was there anyone that you learned from over there?
Anyone that I learned from?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Mark Lewin. I mean, Mark, I traveled with him over and over. I mean, we spent years. I mean, every day we were on the road together. We ran. We worked out. We were together, and he taught me everything. I mean, this guy knew how to handle promoters. How to negotiate stuff, and then he was the booker and all that. And I was with him all the time, and I saw how he did it, how he planned these things. How he would have a big show, and then how he would lead up to the big show, for the angles, how to put an angle together and make it work. And I learned all of that from him. And because of that experience in 1979, when King Curtis and Steve Rickard offered me to buy in the promotion in Honolulu, in Hawaii, and be the booker. I was 20, at that time I was 23 years old, and being the booker of a territory, I mean, something, that was a, dream come true. I mean, but I was able to do that because of Mark Lewin, because I was around him and learned all of that stuff from him.
What are your memories of Curtis Ikea?
Oh, Curtis Ikea is, one of my favorite, man. This guy, I learned a lot from him because in New Zealand, I worked, with this guy. We went on programs for months because I was in New Zealand and Australia for about a year, and out of that year, I probably wrestled every night against Curtis for, I'd say, 8 months. Every night, and this guy had crowd psychology like no other that I seen before. I mean, you wouldn't be the guy that taking bumps all over, but whenever he do something, it meant something. I mean, I remember just giving him a slam, people would just go because he was done at the right time, and also his interviews were, I mean, incredible. I used to watch them and say, wow, and I remember they did this angle that was fantastic. They did this angle where I was Mark Lewin, illegitimate son, And I remember that I'm doing my interview and still in '77, my English wasn't that great, so I'm doing the interviews and doing my best, and he comes to me, with that face, and all the scars, and that, yeah, Rick Martel, face to face, and, yeah, I know you are, and then he called me, a bastard, Lewin's legitimate son, and man, that angle, man, went on fire. I mean, I used to receive letters of women, they had, the situations like that, and oh my God, we're behind you, and this and that, and don't worry, you'll be somebody in life, and this and that, and it worked out great, and from Mark Lewin, I learned the business side of wrestling, and from Curtis, I learned the crowd psychology, the working in the ring, how to get the most, how to make the maximum with the minimum. And, in 77, when I went in New Zealand, when I came out of there, I wasn't the same guy, I mean, I really, that was a turning point in my career.
What are your memories of your first meetings with Mr. Fuji?
Mr. Fuji. Oh, man, a good man. I remember meeting him in Atlanta in 1976. He had just come from, WWF. I'd heard of him of a reputation, also as a ribber, and we befriended right away. I worked with him, and we had some really good matches and enjoyed them. And then we lived in the same apartment complex. So, since I was single, his wife his wife and him and his family kind of took me under their wing. They did invite me over for dinner, and since I had some great time right away with him. And after that, I got to know him, as we wrestled, WWF, for the title. Then in Hawaii also, treated me fantastic. And I really enjoyed working with him because he's a guy that, professional right to his fingers, he wanted to please the crowd and make, he had also good strategies as tag team. He was a great thinker for tag team matches.
Were you ever the victim of any of his ribs?
No, for sure. I got lucky. I don't know. Maybe his wife told me not to. Told him not to because, he spared me. Luckily. Unreal. But I was a witness of several of his ribs.
Any good ones?
Yeah. Well, some mild stuff. Some a little rougher, but one I remember, Saito just coming in the territory, and he, his English is not that great, he's Fuji, to make a rib, would put himself through some stuff that I wouldn't, I remember it said we lived in New Haven, and it would be, working that night in Springfield, which is only like maybe an hour, It says, okay, Saito, tomorrow, a long trip, we leave at 10 o'clock, and, oh, yeah, cool. So they leave at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's like 8 hours, and then in May, he says, Saito, he says, you drive, on the way, and then I drive back, So he'd sleep all day, okay, let's go Highway 90, go to Highway 90 all the way, and then they take the Mass Turnpike and he'd sleep all, so they get in that simple back in the dressing room after an 8-hour drive, So Saito, okay, so go back, so Saito, I drive tonight, so Saito, he liked to drink his beer back, so he'd buy like 2 cases, a lot of beer, for 8 hours, right? So Fuji would drive, and all of a sudden, within 50 minutes, they're back. So say, oh, you, damn you, goddamn you, so, stuff like that. And oh man, he did so much, and one really good one. That he did, Billy White Wolf, used to be, and then it was Sheik Casey later,
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty close, to his dollar. Real cheap, and he used to always go places and take things, but he wouldn't, give back, right?
Right.
He was the kind of guy that, he had his hand there, but he did so. Finally, Fuji got tired of it, and he said, well, I teach him a lesson. He said, So he was a great cook. Fuji was a fantastic cook. And so he cooked, I don't know. He ate the dog, you know.
Right.
I mean, and he teriyaki the dog, you know, and everything. So, but everybody at the party was knew about it, you know. I mean, Casey, White Wolf, was the only one that didn't know. And sure enough, he, you know, oh, that's great, right? You know, and he ate the dog and everything. And then at the end, he says, hey, here, he says, you see what you ate there? And he had the dog's head on the.
Oh.
Man, I mean, and then he went, I could go on and on.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.